Now let's see how we can import 3D model into Houdini. The 3D model that you might have model in other 3D software, for example in Blender or Maya, or you might have downloaded the 3D model from the internet. So to import the model, first let's create a geometry node in here. So if I type the geometry, let's add this. So by creating the geometry node, we are effectively creating a SOP network. Okay, so I can dive inside this node, and here as you can see, that is we are in the geometry context, and in here right now we do not have any nodes. Right now our network is empty. Okay, and in here we can start creating nodes for creating the geometry. And to import the 3D model, we have a node called file node. So if we type the file inside of the geometry context, and here as you can see, we have the file node. Let's add this. So that is the file SOP, because that is the surface operator. We are in the geometry context, so that should call the file SOP. So into the file SOP, let's bring up the parameter of the file SOP by pressing the P key on our keyboard. Okay, so these are our parameter, or I can click on this down arrow button, and that way I can divide this network editor, and up here we have the parameter window to adjust the parameter. Okay, whichever way you like. I prefer to just minimize this window, and just whenever I need the parameter, I can select the node and press the P key, and that way I have always access to the parameter. Okay, and onto the geometry file, here you can pick up the location where you want to load your geometry. Okay, and for the 3D model, I have downloaded the 3D model from Polyheaven. So let's come over here onto the Polyheaven site, and in here we have all of these different resources. We have the materials and HDRI. We also have some free models. So let's browse some models. So these are the models that are completely free to use. So in here, let's search for the chess. Okay, so that is the model that I am using. Let's click on it. And in here, you can specify your resolution for the texture. So right now I'm using the 4K, and in here you can specify the file. And right now it is set to blend, which means the Blender project file. I'm going to download the FBX model as an FBX. So let's click on this FBX and download this, and that will download our texture as well as our FBX model. So make sure to download that. I already downloaded that. So let's go into our Houdini, and in here onto the geometry file, let's click on it. And in here I have extracted into this folder, C folder. So let's open up this chess folder, and here we have the chess set FBX model. Let's click on it and hit accept. Okay, so our model has been loaded into Houdini, but right now the scale is too large. Okay, and that happened when you download the model, when you load the model into Houdini from other sources, because this probably will be modeled in centimeter. So all of these applications work in the centimeter units, but the Houdini works in meter. Okay, so if I press and hold the middle mouse button in here, I can enable the inspection window of this file node. So if you hover over to that node and press and hold the middle mouse button, now keep pressing and holding the middle mouse button, and that will enable this inspection window. And here we have some information. At the top we have the information for the points. How many points does this model have? How many primitives and how many vertices does it have? And in here we have the size. So here as you can see, the size is currently at the 55 meter. So it is a quite large model because it was built in centimeters. So other application consider this as a 55 centimeter, but because Houdini units are in meter, so it is in 55 meter, which is very large model. Okay, so let's scale this model down into manageable size, and to scale this down we can add a transform node in here. So let's type the transform and we can create this transform node. So let's click and add this, and that way we can create this transform node. And let's pick up this wire and connect this in here. Now the transform node has been connected, but right now we cannot see its effect. And to actually view the effect, we need to hover over to that node and press on this I button to view the effect of this currently created node. Okay, so now this node has been active. Now let's bring up the parameter of the transform node. So first let's highlight that node and press the P key, and that will bring up the parameter. And in here we can adjust the translation, that is the X, Y, and Z. I can rotate my object. I can scale this individually into my X, Y, or Z axis, or I also have a uniform scale option. So in here I can adjust this uniform scale. Let's load down the scale value, and here as you can see I am scaling down my overall model. Okay, so that's how you can scale down your model and as well as load your 3D model into Houdini. Okay, and let me hide the parameter of this transform node by pressing the P key. And in here as you can see I have these UVs imported. This model contains UVs, so it is highlighted in the checker pattern. And if you don't want to see this checker pattern, you can click on this here it says the show UVs. So let's click on it. So right now it's actually didn't work, but we need to click this again. Okay, and now here as you can see this option has been disabled. So for some reason it was enabled, but it's showing that it was disabled. So that happens, but it's not a problem. And here as you can see now I am not visualizing my UV pattern, but it does have UVs. I'm just not visualizing them. And if you want to visualize this as a checker pattern, these UVs, just click on this show UV visualizer, and that will add a checker pattern to show you that the model contains UVs.